Were you ever nervous when you left the corporate job to like start your own? Like, what was your mindset at the time?
Oh my God. I saw flames.
I
I
want
saw
to talk about that.
I saw
I
flames.
want to talk about that. What was your biggest challenge when you started?
Um,
One of the things I'd really realized was that a lot of entrepreneurs need therapy. That is basically what is holding a lot of people back from moving forward in their businesses. Not a lot of these other things that we talk about, but it's usually just the self and working on self.
don't work harder on your business than you do on yourself. You must work hard on yourself. Because when you work hard on yourself, it's going to show on your business.
Is there ever a point in your life where, or an incident rather, that happened that was so significant to you that called you to want to continuously and consciously work on yourself?
Many times. Many times. This is going to be embarrassing, but...
Hello, Resonate community, and welcome to the best and the biggest sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world. Now, today's episode, I don't even know where to start, but maybe let me actually start here. We are heading towards the first year of this podcast. And before I started this podcast, I felt really in my heart and in my spirit that I wanted to do a podcast and I knew what I wanted to talk about. And I reached out to some of the people that I know and some of the connections that I have. And I was asking everyone, like, who has the equipment? Who has a camera? Who has this? Who has that? And the lady that is with us today, somebody I reached out to, and she had some extra equipment and she actually lent it to me to start the podcast. Listen, it wasn't this quality, but it was amazing and it was a good start and we started anyway. And she is somebody that I've seen grow in her business, in her family life, and in so many things. And I'm so excited that today we're going to be having this broad conversation, and more than anything, just a conversation about a story and a true testament of resilience and courage and building a great business as a woman. Siphesihle Losi, thank you so much for joining me. The founder and the CEO of iLosi Events Management. We've seen you on Netflix.
I know! My business.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, and
yes.
you are thriving so much. How are you?
I'm good, Michelle. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for coming and joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to come here. The
I'm so
longest time.
glad.
I'm always like watching like your shows, like your
Yeah.
interviews. I'm always like binging on it.
Yeah.
And it feels good to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. And I think to the point that I started this podcast, I think it would be such an injustice if I don't thank you for like opening up your equipment and your resources to me in the beginning when I started, because I do remember I just wanted, you even like lent me a little mic. Do you remember that?
Very well. And that is just me. Like if someone wants to start something, or if I can see that, you know, if I'm able to assist, I'm like hands on.
Yeah.
You know. But I think 2025 I'm gonna stop that because not a lot of people do take whatever that they do seriously.
Yeah.
And some obviously are not as serious as I thought they were. But it's good that you really are where you are today.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that. You still remember that.
Yeah, I really do.
Thank
It
you very
it was very sentimental for me. It meant a lot to just trust into what I wanted to do. And I mean, this was like over a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been quite
been
a
a
while.
while.
But thank you so much. All right, I'm so excited to kickstart the conversation. It is custom on this podcast that we begin with a fire round of questions,
Okay.
so we can get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
And know what you're like. Okay? And you're somebody in events. You do a lot of floral design, and you make things really pretty. And my first question to you is like, if you had to design or create a flower yourself, what would it look like and what would it smell like?
A flower. Jeez. Probably a black flower.
Okay.
And probably smell like, oof.
Like blackberries. Just
Like, is it lilies? Yeah.
yeah, I
So
was actually yeah.
yeah. So lilies, the scent of the lily, it gives sort of like a good energy if
Yeah.
you really go kind of like
Yeah.
sniff it. It really gives such a different scent and energy.
Yeah.
I think I would definitely want everyone to smell that scent, and it will definitely be black because black is beautiful.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. And then my second question to you would be, this is like my most easiest, and we usually get a lot of insights from people that answer this question.
Okay.
Is what is the thing you look forward to every morning and why?
I look forward and how I'm gonna run the day. I think I try and sleep satisfied so that tomorrow I can do more than I did yesterday. I look forward to my day. I mean, today I knew I planned. I mean, we planned this probably like 2 weeks ago or a month ago, and I love the fact that I'm able to plan my days and get excited in doing whatever that I've planned. So I look forward to that. And I live for I want to be a better person. And I'm consistently trying to do better, not just for people, but also for myself. And yeah, that's what I live for.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That was very sentimental.
Thank you.
I actually felt that. That was very sentimental. Okay. And now getting into business. I mean, I've known you for quite some time now, and you have been running your events business. Like, it's just been growing over the years. And we've had several conversations here and there about how that's going. But I'd love to go back to what got you into the
Into
events
events.
business. You asked, and we've heard you. We're proud to announce that on the 29th of March, 2025, we are going to be having our very first Sales and Entrepreneurship Summit by the Resonate podcast / Resonate Hub. Now, the big thing about this summit is we want to really focus on how we can set up our businesses using tech and AI to scale our businesses and make more money. We're going to be having a lot of industry experts come and share their expertise. We're going to have industry experts in the tech and the AI world that are going to really share with us the important tools and resources that we need as small business owners to scale and make more revenue and money. More than just the opportunity to hear from these amazing speakers, we're also going to have a masterclass by yours truly, with potentially a workbook by yours truly, where we're going to get into the strategy you need to succeed and make more money in 2025. We're also going to put up an opportunity for stalls. So if you're a small business owner and you would like to showcase your products or services, we're going to leave the details down below. Please get in touch with us. We only have limited space for stalls, and more than anything, we want to create an experience for small business owners who are saying, I'm brave enough to showcase the work that I do. So this is going to be so exciting and a very first for ours. The tickets are out, and we cannot wait to see you at this event. We cannot wait to meet you. We cannot wait to just have awesome, amazing conversations. And I heard from a little birdie that even before this happens, something else is going to come that you guys are going to love as well. I just want to say, just stick with the Resonate Hub, because we're going places and we are creating a community of entrepreneurs who are not only thriving within their personal brands and within their businesses, but who are building a legacy within their businesses and are so intentional about what they do with their time, what they do with their money, what they do with their resources. And part of building this community is getting together. I can't wait to see you. Grab your ticket and we'll meet you there. We've got a theme as well. It's just going to be exciting, and all the details are going to be on the event poster, or click the link below or on my profile, and all the information is going to be there.
My energy got me into events. I think it was 2012. I think it was 2012. I was still in varsity, and I used to be in varsity, and I remember during our lunchtime with my friends and my classmates, I used to, because quite a funny story. So they used to go and buy their lunch at a restaurant and at a hotel around. And for me, because I'm not coming from a well-off family, so I used to go to like a spaza shop, and if I do have money, maybe I'll go to Steers or KFC and all of that stuff. And I remember having a conversation with them, actually just admiring the fact that, yo, you guys are coming from well-off families, you guys have money, and they said to me, no, Losi, we actually work, we do events, and these are like Caucasian ladies that I went to school with, and they were like, actually, you should join. You should join the company that we work for. I think you'll be a great fit because you have this energy. And I think I attended one or two events, and the rest is history. I've been doing that since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you finish your degree?
I didn't, of course.
It's like once you taste the
didn't.
money, it's like, oh.
Definitely didn't. I think within 10 months of working in the company, I got employed.
Wow.
And I've been doing that ever since. Even when I stopped and tried to do other things, I couldn't enjoy anything else.
Yeah.
And I went back into business, but obviously like opening my own.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that ever since.
Yeah. What are the things that you learned from the time you were employed and that you now are translating into the business that you currently run?
Relationships. Very important to have relationships. And relationships doesn't mean we must be friends or whatsoever, but just being a person that is able to assist, even if there is no transaction, like money, invoices being paid and all of that stuff. And taking care of your people, of your employees.
Yeah.
It was very nice to work for people that really took care of me. They would fly me around, book the nice hotels, eat the fanciest food and all of that stuff. And obviously they had the money. I mean, they were big bosses and stuff. And I see how important that is. And just funny how you're asking that. And I'm just remembering this past weekend, someone said to me, yo, Losi, why are your people so loyal to you? And I'm just like, because I've built a place where now they say it's home. You know, working with me, it's like, let's do this. We are in this together. And nothing actually beats that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you ever nervous when you left the corporate job to like start your own? Like what was your mindset at the time?
Not really nervous. I mean, I was young. When I registered my company, I think I was like 22, 21, turning 22. And it was a friend of mine that convinced me, because he used to sometimes pick me up at these events, and he would, ask, oh my God, how did you even get here? Do you know where you are? And he then convinced me in terms of like opening my own, because he was like, you know what, you always looking for people, hooking people up with jobs and stuff. Why don't you do your own thing? And that was still back in Cape Town. And I was like, and he convinced me in terms of how much you will make and all of that. So I was like, oh, sure, why not, you know? And when I did, when I left and I opened my own, oh my God, I saw flames.
I want to talk about that.
I
I want to talk about that because, I mean, and I think a lot of people, every time we say you need to like start your own business, they think, yes, it's going to be amazing. But you don't realize that you're thriving so much in a corporate environment because there's already systems that are probably 10 years old that have been tried and tested and that they worked. And now you have to be the one that cultivate yours from the ground. What was that? What was your biggest challenge when you started?
Biggest challenge, I knew how to work in events. And I think anyone that is in the business, that is the end. That's the what is this? The cherry on top.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? Most of the work is behind the scenes. You seeking the clients, you making the sales, you sending the codes. If you have to send 10 codes to get one event, then you do it. If you have to send 15 quotes a day to get 2 events, you have to do that. So I didn't have that. I remember my first quote, it didn't even have banking details. It was so bad. I didn't have banking details, and the client then said, how am I going to pay you if you don't have banking details? Because I was still even using my Gmail account, you know.
Wow.
Doing jobs without securing payments. And now you're left, client doesn't pay, you have 10 people that you have to pay, you also don't even have the money. There was just a lot of behind the scenes that I did not know, and I needed to learn, which I am still learning years later. And it was a lot, Michelle.
Yeah.
It was really a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know about the behind the scenes, because I think those are crucial. I think you know this, obviously. I've had an events company before, and that's basically how I started my entrepreneurial journey.
Yes.
And I literally, like, I took my shirt and I was like, thank you, I'm good. Because it's so much work.
It's a lot.
You can spend literally the whole month doing admin and not book a client.
True.
And not book an event, or book one event.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of admin that is there is not equal to the amount of business that you get.
True.
And that is a big risk, because now you need a team and you need people to help you, and etc.
True.
What was it like when you started getting events in terms of pricing yourself? Because I imagine how you described the company you worked at, they did a lot of high-end events at fancy hotels.
Correct.
Was your starting points there as well, or did you realize maybe you had to have a middle ground that you need to start? And what was that like?
So starting, because I was working for a company that did a similar thing as my business, I basically just copied everything. I just copied everything, but obviously I wanted to make it better. You know, how we're gonna dress, the type of people that we need to hire, and the reason why I was able, I guess, to get that right was because every time I worked, I got a lot of compliments. You know, people, not only the way maybe I looked and how I put myself together, it was also the energy. I was really excited to be there, and they also saw that. So I was like, okay, the people that I need to hire, firstly, the type of employees, they need to look like me.
I love that.
So how are they going to look like me? I know how I look like, right? And then I would get that right. Another thing that I needed to learn and got it right is the admin side. I knew I needed to have a laptop. I need to have a printer. I need to have my working hours. So it was like, yes, I'm stopping, but I'm going to do exactly what I was doing at work.
Yes.
And but what I did not understand or get right is that I can't go back to the people that I was working for under that company and then pitch them my business.
Of course.
And two, I also tried to go back to the same company and say, hey, I also have this now. Can we then work together? You know, of which it's just, it didn't work, right? So there was just quite a lot of things that I needed to learn in terms of, I guess, the systems and the tools that the business needs to have behind the scenes. But the biggest thing, even if you have all of those tools, is you being a leader. And I think leadership is what kind of helps the business to grow or sustain the business, because you now have learned that as much as, yes, my employees are probably the same age as me or a year younger, all of that stuff, these people are not your friends. And you need to lead in a way that you want them to present also the company in a way that the clients are going to come back. So there was quite a lot of, yes, the behind the scenes, but most of the work also came from fixing myself.
Ooh, okay. Hi. Now you're just expanding it into an amazing direction. You mentioned two important things that I'd like us to labor on. And the first thing is leadership. You spoke about how you had to learn and how that leadership is actually, foregoing, like increasing and helping the business. We've had several people on the podcast and leadership has been touched on. And we even had, I think, Austin Malema say that he struggles with that part of leadership because sometimes it's like you want to be over compassionate with people and then they just get on your last nerve or they start disrespecting you. And we've had a lot of people talk about their different leadership styles. And I'm interested to know, how would you describe your leadership style and what has helped you develop that? Has there been a trial and error? Is it something that you potentially borrowed from other companies that you've worked for or worked with in terms of seeing and then remodeling that into your business as well? And then the second thing that you mentioned was like working on yourself, and I want us to touch on that but I'm so interested in getting into this leadership conversation.
So again, because I started the company when I was still young, I mean, I was still in varsity when I registered, and I was still partying. I was doing what varsity people do, and it didn't really get me to where I wanted to go because I would slip all the time. I would be trusted and not be trusted. And I think at the age of 24, that's when I was like, okay, cut the crap now. Like I really want to be serious. I really want to make money. And this is now me leaving Cape Town, going to Joburg, coming to Joburg, seeing how Joburg is, and the fact that, a lot of men had money. And yes, I would see the ladies, but I was like, yo, I want to be like the men. I want to put my car keys on the table.
Yeah.
I want, do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got so inspired this side, and I stopped drinking. I stopped partying. You would hardly find me at a restaurant unless I'm working, or if you see me at a hotel, I'm probably working. And I think there was, sounds so cliche, but I think there was a book, The Greatness Guide by Robin Sharma. That's one book that I read that is like a detailed book.
Wow.
That's like, if every day, as long as you're doing something that is going to take you closer to your goal, you need to try and make sure that whatever that you're doing, you are not sabotaging yourself, number one, and two, you are trying. Even if you wrote a quote, just for, if you are saying, okay, today I don't have anything to do or can't think of anything to do, I'm going to sleep. Or even if you stitch, just do something that's going to help you in making sure that you get to where you are. And also, there's a lot of sayings, there's a lot of quotes, there's a lot of words that mean a lot, but until you understand these words. There's a word that I took and then I had to try and understand it. Integrity. Very, very difficult to leave that word, but I had to do it. So me having to do something that is good or something right, whether people are watching or not. So when you see me at work and I'm doing so good, understand that I've been doing so good behind the scenes, but you were not there to see that. So I think with me, leadership is to understand and also just modeling the things that are going to take me first to places I want to go. Yeah.
I love that. And it ties really well into the second thing that I mentioned about working on yourself. When you mentioned that book, I'm reminded of, I don't know who came up with this theory, but it's called the 1% theory. It's this whole theory that every single day you have to try and get 1% better at anything. So it's like if you woke up at 6 o'clock the next day, try get 1% better at that, if that's an area you want to improve, or try get like just anything, but just make sure that by the time the day ends, you've improved 1% at whatever area that you want to improve on. And that is so important because it's, to your point, continuous learning. So, I was saying to a friend of mine the other time last year, because beginning of the year, we started doing a lot of coaching in our business. And we ended up stopping doing a lot of coaching because, one of the areas was obviously the kind of clientele we had. It was really great. But one of the things I'd really realized was that a lot of entrepreneurs need therapy. that is basically what is holding a lot of people back from moving forward in their businesses. Not a lot of these other things that we talk about, but it's usually just the self and working on self. And what I'm hearing a lot from your stories, there's so much introspection, because I mean, I can imagine coming to Joburg. There's a lot of people that come to Joburg and crash based
True.
on the very same things that you saw and that inspired you,
True.
is that they see that and they think, and then they end up going into literally start drinking more, because that's what they think is going to get them closer to the goal. And I like
True.
when you say that you actually got in and you had a moment of introspection, say, actually, I need to stop and I need to, like, get myself up again and start moving. Was there ever, I mean, maybe drawing back to that point, if it wasn't that one, but was there ever a point in your life where, or an incident rather, that happened that was so significant to you that called you to want to continuously and consciously work on yourself?
Many times. Many, 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 many times. Oof, this is going to be embarrassing, but I mean, yeah. I remember going to, these open days for a cabin cruise. I remember wanting to do that because I was just like, okay, I'm 24, didn't even finish at school, got certificates there and there. I really don't know what to do. I just want money. I just need to work, but I'm really interested in doing this, First day I went, I don't know what, I think it was the presentation. Yeah, the first day. I got in because I went there looking exactly like them. So I went in, and then I think I went and I celebrated. I went out. And the next day, you're supposed to come back for the test. And what I did not do, I did not read the form that they give you to come back.
Like the info pack.
Yes. I think that later, it was 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, I'm not sure. But I got there late. And when I got there, everyone said, like, people were already done. And in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to, I'm going to lie and be like, I was in a car accident. Like, how young people, they'll be like, no, the taxi, or I was in a car accident, or I'll make up a story. And I didn't get a chance to even, say my story.
Wow.
And I remember, I was so down, Michelle. I was so down. I switched off my phone. My parents couldn't get me. Now I'm in Joburg. They're trying to, find my friends' numbers so that they can get hold of them and and speak to me and stuff. And I remember my mom saying, "Don't beat yourself. You way too young. This is not the end of the world." And for me, I was just like, how can I do this? This is a
Sure.
make it or just,
Yeah.
and obviously I didn't want to go back home. But that ended up me having to go back home. Me going back home now, I mean, I'm from a very small town in the Eastern Cape, and you can imagine, people that were smart at school, they're working probably at Checkers, at Pick and Pay, or at the bank. And I definitely do not want that. And my mom trying to, here's money, trying to, I guess, cheer me up, but I was just not okay. Until a friend of mine who now lives in South Arabia, she then called me and she was like, hey, where are you? I'm like, I'm in the Eastern Cape. And she's like, oh, what are you doing there? She's like, no, you're coming back. I was like, I'm Chana Namali. And she's like, no, you're coming back. I came back. She literally forced me. I came back. I think within 2 months or 3 months, I was already back on my feet. I was already doing stuff. I was already, and then I think within that year of me coming back, that's when I was like, I'm not going to work for anyone. Let me go back and do my business again. And literally, Michelle, it was like, after.
It always takes those moments, hey? Because I mean, I can imagine how daunting that must have felt. Because if all things went well, there were high chances of you getting that job. And to feel like you sabotaged yourself to not receiving it.
And that's what happens to a lot of people. I still do it, but I stop myself. I'm like, okay, now there's a limit.
Yes.
Go and sleep. We'll come back tomorrow. I think a lot of people, it's very difficult it's very difficult to not want to feel the bad things.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
bad things are going to happen, and it's very difficult to take them. So that's why people will drink. That's why people will, you know, do certain things, because it's all in your head. And if you can't get out of your head or try and
Yeah.
control your head, it's going to be very difficult in basically like everything, even in
Yeah.
relationships, even in business. You
Yeah.
know you need to make those hard decisions, but you're like, no, I don't want to be the bad person. You know you need to fire this person, but you're like, no, but they need money, they're a single mother, and but they just, you are also not even helping them, because if they're not performing, then what's the point?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so powerful. And I'm just thinking about anybody that could be listening right now that is feeling like they are, or they've recently come out of that season of like self-sabotage. And I think what the story that you just shared does is it really highlights that there is light at the end of the tunnel. But it's about the decision you make in that moment.
Correct.
Because there's this saying, I think I read this somewhere, that says pain demands to be felt. That if you don't feel it, you'll constantly run away. And that's where, so in your situation, you could have just chosen to just go the drinking route and just like go sideways. And where a lot of people actually go and they don't build themselves up. And then they wake up when it's too late.
30 years later,
Yeah.
35, 36,
Yes.
you're now a 39-year-old, you just, you don't even have a skill that you can sell, because I think these days, things are just so easy.
Yeah.
Things are just so easy. You can sell anything, and
Yeah.
if you can,
Can sell tables.
mugs.
Yeah.
You can sell anything. You can make money
Literally.
off anything,
Yeah.
you know. But people are just not. They just. I don't even want to say people are lazy. It's not lazy. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe we are programmed, or we are thingy to be like
Yeah.
this, because it's so hard, Michelle.
Yeah.
It is so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of self-limiting beliefs. And I think it's about, I can also identify to like several times where I've had a moment that just said to me, no, this is time where you have to, pick yourself up. But I think that people don't, like you say, people don't know how to deal with hard times. And it's usually at like the precipice of hard times that we get knocked off the cliff. And then the self-destruction becomes even worse, instead of it actually bringing you back to yourself and back to God, so that you can start working on yourself. Because the honest truth, and you and I would know this, is that working on yourself is hard. Very hard. It's like sitting in that pain of the fact that you did that to yourself is excruciating.
You can't even blame anyone.
You can't. It's easier to
You're
drink.
trying to make
You
useless
can't.
stories.
Yes, you can't. It's easier to drink and just be like, I don't care. If it was meant to be, it wasn't meant to be, and move on with your life and self-destruct further. That's an easier option. And I think that people just need to learn or get in the habit of doing hard things.
No, you have to.
Yeah.
It's actually the best thing to do for yourself. If you want to get anywhere, try and do hard things.
Yeah.
Like it's hard things, they actually excite me. Like if I'm experiencing a challenge, I'm like, yes. You know, if a client is, giving me a terrible feedback and is complaining, I'm like, you know, because, sometimes people are actually even teaching you, things that you didn't even know about yourself.
Yeah.
Things that are going to probably unlock your success. So, but if you are not willing, or you don't open yourself up to criticism and certain things, then you're not going to get forward.
Absolutely. How was it like when you dealt with like criticism in the beginning of your business? Because people in the events industry can be fussy.
Yeah, true.
How was that like?
So because I've worked for similar companies, a similar company, the people that we used to recruit, I used to get emails about, the guys, they were not wearing socks. They were leaning against the windowsill. No, small things like that. So already I knew how to handle those. And I had to write a report and all of that stuff. So when I experienced something like that, and it was not even directed to my business. It was probably linked, because we work a lot with different suppliers at events. So we're all grouped. And when I reported to say, okay, with us, 1, 2, 3, 4, then the ex-supplier, calls me, Losi, how can you say that? How can these type of people, they like to complain. But I'm like, but they're telling the truth.
Yes.
People are complaining about the food.
Yeah.
The food was cold. The food was this. Do you get what I mean? And you can't then blame, the waiters, of which I was responsible for the waiters. You can't then blame the waiters because you've given them, cold food, but if it's then directed to me, I will point and say, I take a full accountability, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I promise to not have the same people at events. I will change the team.
Yeah.
And I'll also avail myself for those events just to make sure that these accidents or situations do not happen.
I like what you're saying because it's basically getting to the root of the problem. Because I think we can easily get caught up in the, these people like to complain. Like,
Correct.
oh my gosh.
Correct.
And, like they just, like those kind of people, like complain about everything. They're so
True.
fussy. And then you don't give yourself the opportunity to actually fix it. Because there could be a real problem that actually needs fixing. Or you just need to move away from being mediocre. Because sometimes those kind of people that are fussy are those kind of people that are willing to pay more.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very right.
Yeah.
That is true.
Very interesting. One of the things that I think that makes you stand out a lot in your business is how your staff dresses. How I'm always like, Losi's staff looks like flight attendants in business class. Like, what do you mean? They always look polished. But not like I can't explain it. What's the idea there? Like,
remember the story I mentioned now. If they chase you away from the building, then go back and buy the building, or then build your own building, something like that. Yeah, I think it goes to that. I've always wanted, I guess, that life when I was younger, and I didn't get it. And obviously the story behind how I felt and all of that stuff. And if you see now the flight attendants and all of that stuff, the confidence and stuff. And our job is not even that nice and polished, But when a person dresses well, even if they were not feeling okay, automatically, do you get what I mean? It's like it's synced to, I guess, your energy, or something just happens because now you have makeup on, now you have like nice hair, you dressed well and all of that stuff. It gives you that confidence, and with confidence you can transfer it to the work. And then when you're working and you're confident and you're feeling good and you're looking good, the guests are gonna feel like, ooh, okay. When we walk at events or at weddings, you can see the groom. Oh, okay. No. I've got my VVIPs. Make sure table this and this. And this whole time we were probably getting all the information from the bride.
Yeah.
But now because they see what they sing and they're like, so now they know your name. Losi. So I'm like,
Iphakamile, man. It's very.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To even translate that, how do you say like iphakamile in English in a way that like makes sense? Like it's
elevated,
respectable.
Yeah. It's something
in a steamer. Like there's some things you can't like translate, but it's very. It's very respectable and it's very high up there that everybody wants to be associated with. It's like, of course I want that. Of course I want my guest to be served with by like a flight attendant looking person. That food, because I think a lot of people forget that your touch points in a business are very important. And I think that's one of your biggest touch points is that even if sometimes the food is cold, but because they were served by somebody who looked that good and was professional and confident, they might overlook the food being cold. They might overlook the slightest mistake or an order going wrong because you already represent professionalism. It's like, oh, it was a genuine mistake. But if you already look like you are about to make mistakes, they expect it.
It's like, oh,
Yes, it's like I knew it from the moment. Have you ever been at a restaurant and you just like, I knew this person was going to make a mistake?
Let me tell you, because I work in the industry, I work in the service industry. Sorry to the Karens, I am the Karen. I am the current, but the problem is that I don't have the current's funds, and I don't look like a current, right? I want to taste things, before I can buy. I want, because obviously I'm used to quality, and I work with, your top chefs and all of that stuff. So I kind of expect, even if, yes, I'm not paying a huge amount of money, something needs to taste a certain way.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? So I do that all the time. But also, with restaurants these days, people, they like to judge. They would want to look at you before they can even serve you. It's like, that 5 minutes. So me and my friend, we used to do this. When we go to a restaurant and someone doesn't come to us within, let's say, 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, we leave. It was like a thing. We used to do that in Cape Town. And then if we get a good service, obviously we'll leave a big tip. We can even leave like 100% tip or 80% tip, right? Because we work in the industry, so it was like a norm. So now it's very difficult to, to dine because you're wearing pumps.
You notice
already
everything.
the tip is not,
Yes.
this side, things are like that. So it's very, very difficult to dine. But when I do, I always try and go to places that I know I'm guaranteed at least good food, whether or not the service is bad or good. Or I stick to my places around my neighborhood because, like, also going there often, so people, they know, and I leave like a nice tip and stuff, so I'm always guaranteed to that.
You probably have an allocated waiter.
Yes,
all the time.
But going to a restaurant, I don't jinx. It's either good or KFC.
And it's just like you move forward. But I think, to your point, right, the key to probably starting to build a sustainable service-based business is realizing that a touch point is very important. And sometimes if you get one touch point right, it can compensate in the areas where you don't, it's like even at a nail salon. I used to tell the story a lot last year. I've unfortunately parted ways with that nail salon that I used to go to. But I enjoyed their service. Their nails weren't great, to be honest. But when I walked in, I was offered a glass of wine or juice, and there was beautiful music. It looked good.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in the space, even if what they did was not to the standard. But that touch point kept me coming over and over and over again. And I think that people need to really think long and hard about what their touch points are, and maybe not giving yourself the pressure to say, I'm going to be good at like dressing and speaking English and doing 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's very true.
Yes, it's like, I'm just going to be good at this thing. Like, we're just going to look good. Because if we look good, we raise an expectation and we deal with clients, and then they will take us more seriously. That sometimes, even if they're delivering cold food, I think also how the client addresses the cold food to that staff is different than how they would to any other person.
We live in a world where whether or not you know something, you just not being packaged accordingly. There's already an expectation. Do you get what I mean? There's already a, people assume maybe you don't know. Do you get what I mean? So it's very, very, very difficult. It's very difficult, and I don't think it's going to change because it's been, I guess, like this. It's even worse now.
Yeah.
So that's why people then, certain brands look
A certain way.
and then when they work, then there's complaints and all of that stuff. So yes, you need to get one thing maybe great, that good, but also consistently work on other things as well. Because you don't want to be only known for just being good, but your work doesn't match. At least try. Don't be a 10 and a 1. Be a 10 and maybe like a 7.
Yes.
Or a 10, 6 maybe when you are too busy, you are just going through the year finishing off, but at least try and, do things accordingly.
Yes, and match it there.
True.
Interesting. That's very. How long have you been in business now?
Oh, I went back into my business, I would say 2017.
Okay.
So, was it 8 years?
21, 22. Yeah,
7
8 years.
yeah.
Shucks, that's a long time.
It's a long time. Only my business. Nothing else.
That's been a long time. I was reflecting that I've actually been a full-time entrepreneur since 2018.
Shucks.
Yeah, I was like, whew,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's insane. What are you learning now, 8 years later?
Uh, don't work harder on your business than you do on yourself.
Mm.
Must work harder on yourself. Because when you work hard on yourself, it's going to show on your business. How Sebenzile.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, when you consistently learn, you try and improve, certain things in your business.
Interesting. So I'm quite curious to know. I mean, 8 years into business now, moving forward. What do you think you want to see, or what do you think you want to hear at year 10 of your business?
Here, in terms of what?
Like in terms of yourself. So, for instance, if you would like leave a message for like year 10 entrepreneur, iLosi, what would you say to her? That's 2 years from now.
Oh, whoa. To leave a message to me. Probably I'm very proud of you. I don't often say that.
Yeah.
Also to the team as well. Because I always think that you can always push. Only, yeah. I think I definitely say that.
Yeah.
I think, sometimes we actually need long hugs. We need to hear, I am proud of you. Not just to myself, to my team, but maybe to my daughter, my husband, my dad, my sisters, basically everyone, and just hug them.
Yeah. It's beautiful. How's motherhood?
It's nice, but it's exhausting. Yeah, it's exhausting. If I knew, I would probably wait it until 35.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
I can totally understand that.
It's exhausting.
What has motherhood taught you?
Acceptance. Which it's very still hard.
Yeah.
Acceptance. You're getting me emotional.
Oh wow.
So a lot of people, after giving birth, I mean, your body changes.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a 6-pack before I had a
I
child.
remember that.
And it is so difficult. But your child will always love you, whether you look the way you used to look or you don't. Until you accept that and be happy with how you look now. So accepting. There's a lot of things that I have not accepted. I have them, but I haven't accepted them. And I know that I haven't accepted them because of the way that I respond or I treat them. So until I accept
those things,
until I accept motherhood, then I will be probably like now. I'm learning. I'm trying. You know. It's
yeah.
Yes,
It's an interesting journey, and I think it's so affirming for a lot of people that could be watching right now that are still, I won't say even in their limbo, but they're still trying to figure it out. And the honest truth, and you and I were having a conversation before we started recording about how motherhood is just like, it's an interesting journey. I think interesting is like the word to use there. It's an interesting journey that is ever evolving. Like, you don't ever get to a point where you're like, now.
Yeah.
Now I'm the bossa mother.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine now. It's like you're constantly figuring yourself out. And I love the point you made is acceptance.
You have to.
Is accepting the version of you that's now a mom. Yes. Accepting the version of the marriage and the relationship that is now presented itself.
And the responsibilities that come with that. Because if you don't do it, who's going to do it? I mean, you are a mother.
Yeah.
And being a mother, it is a 24/7 job. Like,
Sure.
It,
Yeah.
you know, I was like the other time. So if I don't ask what are we eating, no one is going to think of that. Guys, are you gonna make eggs? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, Mara, you know, but again, this is also not a business.
Yes.
And I feel like at least sometimes households should have like a mandate. Do you get what I mean? Yes, there are certain tools that at least one should at least understand. You know, like if someone is making breakfast, let's say if you have your sister around at
Yeah.
your house, if she's making breakfast, she can't make breakfast for herself.
Yeah.
She must ask everyone else in the house. Do you
Yes.
get what I mean?
Yeah.
So that there's no switching on, switching off, and
Yes.
do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
If you are, what is this? If you are, if it's at night, you know, and you're in your room and you wanna close the curtains, close the whole house. Do you get what I mean? It should be, it should run. It mustn't be like ayako le, keyamo le. We should be able to. We need to work together.
Yeah.
And I feel like I see now, especially with the Americans, where they, you know, there will be these small clips. Me and my wife, we do like yearly goals where we discuss where we want to take our relationship,
Yes.
what to do with the
Yeah,
family,
yeah.
the trips, and all of that stuff. That thing should happen.
I think it's very
Because you guys are all in one place, but this one is thinking of this one is, do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't get to sort of,
Like integrate a way forward. You know, I think to that point, so maybe just if this helps somebody, is I'm a schedule girl. In my household is run by a timetable. From breakfast to dinner,
yeah.
to lunch, to locking the house, to so because that is, I found so much smooth ease and synergy that like 6 o'clock we have dinner in the home.
Yeah.
Whether if you don't have dinner at 6 o'clock, say yeah, command you now you're going to see yourself.
Yeah.
We lock up at a certain time. We do things, and I think that for me has really, really helped. But I wanted to touch to the points that you spoke about motherhood, and I want to share this potentially to help somebody who probably needs it. You know, when I think my daughter's like a year younger than yours. Zoe is turning 3 now.
Yeah.
Yours is turning 4.
Yeah.
And I think the first 2 years of my daughter's life, I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, sorry, what? I can't believe that. Like my life is, it just takes over your life, and it's beautiful. We love it, but at the end of the day, there's still somebody there who's got dreams, goals, visions, and all of these amazing things. And I remember every time I got upset with myself for not doing the things I wanted to do, the excuse was always my daughter. The excuse was like, it's hard for me to go to the gym because my daughter is up by that time. It's hard for me to do this because my daughter wasn't well. And, you know, and I think I got to a point, and I really credit this to the Holy Spirit. And I think I got to a point where I think the Lord kind of revealed to me that I have 2 choices, and those 2 choices have different directions. The first one is I can continue using my daughter as an excuse, and she's going to grow. And as she grows, she's going to like look at me and just be like, but you could have given me a better life. You could have given me a happier mom. You could have given me you know, and she's going to blame me for being the excuse. Like, then it just becomes a cycle. Or I can stop making excuses and turn that into motivation. So I stopped saying things like, I can't work out in the morning because my daughter is awake, to I have to work out in the morning because I need to make sure that my child has a healthier mother. I have to go to work because I have to make sure that I want my daughter to see a woman who's doing X, Y, Z. And for me, it's like, it was a light bulb moment of actually, wow. I did not realize that I was literally using her as a crutch. And you find that has been a lot within the previous generations and a lot of people and how they're raised, where you become the excuse. And then when you're grown, parents start telling you like, I would have been fired if it wasn't for you. And it's just like, this was a poor child. They did not demand nothing. They just were there. You could have lived your life and done so well for yourself and still taken care of them.
That's true.
So that has been my learning. And I often say to people that I think having my daughter, and once I settled into motherhood, I became Superwoman. Like, yes.
That one.
The things I can do.
That one.
You can't do me.
Let me tell you, being a mother is a superhero.
Superwoman.
Listen, I
Superwoman.
did not know. I used to come back at 2 a.m. in the morning from an event, and I would find Huey in the couch.
Yes.
And I would still have energy
Yes. Yeah. And
for her.
You must wake up the next morning.
I was like, this thing.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes.
It's even worse now. I mean, well, I've always tried, but now I guess also with the focus.
Yes.
It's just, you can't mess with me. No.
It's super, like, you can't get through my day because I'm like, listen, by the time my daughter comes back from school, I must be done so I
That's
can
true.
play with her.
That's true.
Because I need to play hide
That's
and
true.
seek, and I need to be running around this house to make sure that we are having
That's
fun.
true. That's true.
After I clocked a full day, but before I had a baby, by the time I clock a full day, I'm like,
Be sleeping.
can't do it anymore. And it's just, I say that I think I grew wings from having my child. And a lot of women get stuck in that, and rightfully so. Like, oh my God, you've got every excuse. It's such a consuming thing.
Yeah.
But I hope that what they get from the things that we've shared is that you can just draw motivation from it and become bigger and better. And because I mean, the kids that you and I are talking about are little people. Like, they're not 13-year-olds who are left to like television. There are people who are breastfeeding 2 years old.
I know.
You know, so it always eventually works out.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But you need to make it work out for you.
Yeah.
No one is going to come and save you from yourself. You need
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Because your husband will wake up on Saturday morning and say he's going to play golf.
Listen, sometimes I'm like, I wonder, do you know you have a family?
It's like, I'm going to go play golf.
Do you get what I mean?
Like, sorry, what?
That's
Golf?
true. Yeah,
No.
that's true.
You have to be here.
Yeah.
And it's, like, so for me, like, I had a moment like that. I was like to my husband, you can't, golf? We have, he literally turned to me and he said, we've got a helper.
Oh, yeah.
You can get ready and go have coffee and read a book.
Yeah.
Honestly, then I thought, he's
the mom
right.
guilt. Yeah. The mom guilt.
I was like, you are I have the same liberty, but I've given myself like a bigger responsibility.
Yeah.
I can also go out for 2 hours and go read a book and go see my friends and like just live my life. It was like a bit embarrassing. I was like,
That's
sorry,
true.
I complained. It's like, go. Let me also go do my stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting
true.
journey that I think we can navigate the right way with the right help.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sure.
Definitely.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Michelle.
This was beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed this.
I did as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you win.
Definitely. No, that's standard.
Yeah, more and more. And
Definitely.
this will hopefully not be the last time we see you here on the podcast.
Yeah, if they want me to come back.
Yeah. They definitely will. They definitely
If they
will.
want us to come back. But yeah.
They definitely will.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Resonate community. This has been it's always soul food when I have people on the podcast that I've had the privilege of interacting with over the years and have seen their growth as well. And this has been one of them. And I thoroughly, thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. And I have no doubt that you did. So thank you so much for watching. We love you guys so much. Let me know what you learned in this video. And if you're somebody who's currently still stuck, you are in the motherhood journey and you're trying to figure that out, I hope you take the things that we've shared and just realize that you've got such an amazing opportunity to make something bigger, better, and greater of yourself, and that you've got this. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on our next podcast episode. Goodbye.